you had given up, I'm sure that maybe you would have missed out on all of this information. And I also learned quite a number of things from your conversation, usually about the Tigernut, because I make Tigernut myself.
It's 100 grams.
Yeah.
Also the same price. Better, free from stones, free from cut, ready to use, treated, free from E. coli and all those bacteria, ready to use Tigernut. So you can either take it and wash it just to be on the safer side, but you can take it and consume.
If you want, we can have one-on-one sit down and design a course, because I can think of a few topics, but you now have to like flesh it out based on what you know about. Whether it's if you want, we can have.
It's green for me. Standing alone can be heavy.
Today we're going to be talking about purpose. We're going to be talking about death. And I'm just going to show you the agenda. Hopefully we're able to fit our hour into this agenda. Now, if you've not seen this already, I want you to go and check it out just on this. And he is the founder or the inventor, if you like, of email marketing that people want. One of the three things that people want is status. They want to feel important. They want to feel that they are significant. Martin yesterday, along with a lady who was interviewing him. And it was the same conversation. Sometimes when you have made your choices, you give a little bit of time. So I'm going to stop sharing. I hope I can see your video. Where's Yetunde? Hi, Esther. How are you?
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is Yetunde Macaulay. I refer to myself as a development enthusiast. Why? Because I love everything development. So anything that brings about development is something I'm passionate about. And so you always see me in places where things about development are being discussed, where we are strategizing about the next development, things that will bring about growth in the life of others and even in the community where we find ourselves. So you always find me in those places. So that's what I do. To achieve my goal, I decided to go on a mission that has given birth to 2 babies, and the babies are being nurtured. MVC Communications and MyDreamConnect. One is a business, the other is a social enterprise to, give expression to my aspirations. Yeah. So MyDreamConnect basically, was birthed to support other people, young people, youths, ages 15 and in fact, teenage preteens. As long as you're young and you're interested in learning and growing and becoming what you want to be, we always like to give you that support. So even if it's the basic support that can encourage you to move to the next level, we always want to be there. But currently what we do is we're basically focusing on teaching people that we find or we gain access to, either by you saying, oh yeah, I want to be with you, or oh, we find it interesting and we would just like to contribute to what you're doing. We offer life skills and tech skills, right? So we have programs that have been designed to help our target audience, become, the best that they can be, because, the foundation is always the key thing, right? So we decided to go be at the roots where we can help you lay some foundation that you can, start to build on. And for MVC Communications, we are basically doing digital transformation for businesses and individuals that are looking for support to, put their business out there, to create systems, for their business, especially in the areas of learning and development, human resources, and whatever the business is, we tend to help you build your websites, the web applications, software, mobile applications, So, but we are still growing. I think, that's what I do. And it gives me joy to wake up every day to work with people that, are supporting the development of these goals that I have set based on my aspirations. Thank you, Kate, for inviting me.
Beautiful. So I'm going to ask some back-to-back questions for you to just rapidly tell the audience powerful things about what you do. First of all, how long have you been doing this?
Okay, so like I said, my aspiration has given birth to 2 babies. The bigger baby is the social platform, MyDreamConnect. Of course. And I've been doing it for over 10 years now. I conceived it a while ago when I was in Pan African University. And so I was just doing it until 2015 when somebody called my attention to a program. That was the Tony Elumelu program. And it was like, oh, you're so powerful, you're so passionate, you're so, I'm looking for that, but there's no word that they would always use. Like, you're a very consistent person and you're doing well. Look at this program, why not apply for it? For the charity work you're doing, because I was just doing it as an ISR. So it wasn't like, oh, I was trying to build a system around it at the time. And so I applied, and it was the first time Tony Elumelu launched. And to my surprise, I got the funding. It was amazing. So 2015, I would say, MyDreamConnect kick-started, and ever since then, yeah, even though there have been a lot of struggles, some failures on the journey, slowdowns, but of course we haven't failed. Of course, there are just moments of failure, but of course we always, get back. So that moment of failure from time to time, I had to just check it. What's going on? Yeah, you're running a system that does not have something to sustain it. And that was what gave birth to the second baby that is now feeding the bigger baby. So that was just 2.5 years ago, which is now the baby feeding the bigger baby that started on a charity note. So I've been in business technically, business of charity for almost 10 years now, and then the other one for 2.5, 3 years, going to 3 years now.
Awesome.
That's MVC Communications, yeah.
So some of us would like to, MVC Communications about 2.5 years, and then the MyDreamConnect, which is the core of what you are so passionate about for the past 10 years. Now, I'm going to say 4 words, or 3 or 4 words, and I'm sure some of us would like to know a little more about how you experience those words in your journey. Number 1 is purpose. Number 2 is resilience. Number 3 is consistency. And number 4 is passion. So purpose, passion, resilience, consistency. How do you think these words matter to you, and how should they matter to anyone who is trying to get something done in this world?
Okay, thank you very much, Coach K. You mentioned 4 things: purpose, resilience, passion. I missed out the last one is consistency. Yeah, so let me see. I want to look at it because I'm writing down as you're talking. Purpose, resilience, passion, and consistency. So the number 1 thing is passion, then it's purpose, and that's the truth. Usually we don't always know what the purpose is, but something will drive us to get to the destination of our purpose, which is number 2, passion. Now, for you to really get to that purpose, you have to be consistent in whatever you're doing, regardless of the troubles. And of course, when the trouble comes, the resilience keeps you going. It helps you to hold on, and at the end of the day, you would land. It's just like a flight, yeah, or you're going on a tree, and the bus is the passion, right? And the fuel for the vehicle is consistency, right? And when you're feeling tired, of course, the journey where we're going is purpose. Yeah, so passion is the bus that drives you to the destination, which is the purpose, and your consistency is the fuel that drives the engine, and the resilience is like the encouragement that keeps you going. I think that's how I want to just do my. I can be like, I just want to connect it that way, if you understand it. So it's the passion that keeps driving you, and then you stay consistent and you continue to go, and the end goal is achieving your purpose here on earth.
That's so powerful, and that is even so powerful because I didn't tell you about this question before I asked it, so that you had no time to rehearse it. This is straight from the heart, and I appreciate that. Esther has some thoughts on the strategy course. We'll try to see whether we can get her on the platform, but let me ask you one question about your community. One of the things I was very impressed on how many people are involved in MyDreamConnect. I know that you have programs that pull together up to 40, 50 people sometimes, right? And you do these about 4 times a year, if I'm not mistaken. How have you grown this community, right? How have you grown this community? What can we learn from it? And how do you keep them together? Yeah.
Okay, so recently I was just thinking about, because none of this is pre-planned, and I'm happy that I'm doing this. Recently I was thinking about my journey, and something very significant dropped in my mind. In life, our journey will not always be smooth. Even if whether you're rich or poor, that's the truth. The poor has their own issues, the rich have theirs as well. But the truth is, our journeys will not always be smooth. And I'm going somewhere with this story. I also learned something 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago? About what we call patience. Patience. I was in Kogi 2 weeks ago and something happened. So there was like a disagreement amongst myself and everyone that, we went to Kogi together. So there was a problem that needed to be solved, right? And in this problem, there were angers, there were, disagreements and all of that. But at the end of it all, we resolved it. In fact, the person that we all saw as a problematic person ended up solving the problem. At least he drove us to the point where we ended up solving the problem, but it took hours. And what lesson did I learn from it? When we say patience, we always think patience is about not talking. No, but I realized that patience is usually, in most cases, timing. You take time to look at the problem again and again and again and continue to make adjustments, rework it, even in your anger. The person who gets angry and just walks away will not solve a problem. But the person who is getting angry and still thinking of, okay, how can I make it better? But do you understand? Even though people are pointing fingers, and the person at the end of the day makes something happen is the person we should praise. That's the person that has been patient, not the one that is not talking and keeping malice or boiling on the inside and not talking. Such people eventually will fail if care is not taken. Because patience is not in, oh, they eat you and you are not talking. Patience is in, oh, somebody eats me. Okay, fine. Maybe my reaction will be, why did you eat me? But that person is not angry. That person is just like, okay, why did this person eat me? And then eventually the person gets to know that, oh, at the end, oh, he was actually just playing with me. Or like the other person who keeps quiet and not talking and starts to hate that person, they create more problems. So now looking at my MyDreamConnect, I sat down and I was looking at myself and I'm like, okay, thank God. If I had not been patient enough or consistent in what I am doing, I probably would have walked away because there were so many troubles. Some are as a result of the kind of personality that I have. Some are as a result of what the environment looked like. Some are as a result of some things that I just couldn't take. But I will always go back to the purpose and the passion. Sometimes I tell people, I say, what, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to say I don't like my country. I just feel like I said, I think I'm in the wrong environment, but I'm enjoying my job. So that keeps me. And so I don't even see the environment. I began to think about people who jump and all of that because they have not paid attention to purpose. So they tend to keep running and running and running. But because I have something doing, my purpose keeps me, it takes my mind or my eyes off the problem within the environment. And I think that's what MyDreamConnect, that's the story of MyDreamConnect. Like, okay, yeah, I just want to win this, I want to do this, I want to make this happen. And I keep going after it day in, day out, regardless of. So now, so whenever there is a situation like a bottleneck, I can't move, I come up with another strategy. So I'm going, it's just like in Lagos. There are several ways to the island. But if you stand on, I must go through Third Mainland Bridge. Well, whatever happens, you take it. But if I am able to critically think and say, okay, what am I going to do on the island? Is it timed? Do I have a time frame to get there? If I go through Third Mainland Bridge and I'm supposed to get there by 6 o'clock and I'm on Third Mainland Bridge even at 7:30, that means it's a failed project. Are there alternatives? So if there are alternatives, how do I get there? Sometimes people look at me, I don't drive my car every day. I jump the BRT. I always tell people, if there is traffic now, I cannot park my car and leave. But with BRT, I can walk a distance and go and join another vehicle in front. Sometimes that's how I live my life, just so I can achieve that goal. But people get stuck when they feel, I must be in the car, I must get to the meeting, driving a posh car and doing this. And then it slows us down. And when things don't happen, we get irritated and angry. When we could have solved the problems one way or the other, the way, God is ministering. Yeah, we use that word now. We are spirit beings, and God always has a way out for every solution. When we get stuck on, I must do it my way, sometimes we don't get to achieve that goal. Then we have to pay for the trip, make all the payments. But if I am like, okay, yeah, I'm flexible, God, I'm open, how should I go about it? It tells you, it gives you direction. And I think that's what has been encouraging me to go, on the MyDreamConnect journey. Sometimes when we started, sometimes I'll just say 10. 10 people. In fact, I started with training maybe 2 or 3 people in class, physical. Sometimes I was, it was the challenge of, we should do physical, and then, when you're doing physical, eventually you will see that, okay, maybe you need 2 or 3. And that has led us to, let's look at it this way. How about doing it virtually? And we began the virtual journey. And then it began to work. Now people have known us, they know what we do. Unlike trying to and struggling to want to do it, at a physical location by all means, and then become frustrated. Yeah. It's just like our TED bootcamp coming, the summit coming up. Initially, we were struggling with the location. Do you get it? And it was taking a long time to even, agree on what to do. And then I had a conversation with one of my guys, and I'm like, and the guy was like, we've been doing virtually, because really, I settled that in my mind, that virtual can work, must we do physical? And then he said, we've been doing virtual programs successfully. Why not just continue? Why not just let's make it virtual? And then when we start to do it, when we start to think the virtual route, the door to the physical venue is now opened. And that's the truth, right? And of course, we're going to do both physical and virtual. And in fact, it's even better than the original plan. The new plan now looks better than the original plan. And so I'm like, okay, sometimes you get stuck when you try to want to do things your way, but when you involve God, and of course, involving God will lead you to talking to other people, believing in what they also carry, because nobody is useless. Everybody that comes on board your flight, they are coming with something, they are carrying something, and God can also talk to them through you, and they can use them to encourage you. So I think for us, we've been growing because we have new people every time, and because we're helping people to grow. So there's always increase. That's one good thing that I know. There's always an increase, one way or the other, whether it's the tech boot camp, whether it's the code camp for summer holiday program, or whether it's our smart leaders. Yeah, even though we're slow on our scene. So I just had to work with somebody to produce. The only thing I do is package it. I just made sure I found somebody I trust with the quality and all. So see you next week. Yeah.
All right.
Bye for now.
Okay, bye.